Start the damn
I have started! I've started, man!
We're doing the recap, go!
Right, sure, hello. Last time we saved Zoe's dad from being assassinated by Tarantula.
By tarantulas?
And tried
Shit.
to usher him to take over as one of the mayor of the Gold District, and he was like, I don't know, because you know, Laurel is not really good at convincing people. And then we found out that the king had a secret magic workshop out in the forest, so we went out there, and it turned out to be an old cigarette thing. And we were like, we should probably go in there and shut it down. So we went in there, and it was full of wizards, and we killed all the wizards. And threw a lot of, like, glue and tanglefoot bags and stuff, and then it was discussed for like half an hour what to do with like the magical focus that was the point of the whole place. And Ritholin, the wise arcane caster, suggested we should just smash it to bits, which everyone agreed was an incredibly stupid idea. So instead we went back to town and found the magic box that eats all the magic, and like poked it in there, and the magic box ate all the magic, and now we have a magic box filled with magic. That the Archmage is like, that is an artifact of the ancient empire, constructed by the first emperor. In fact, it contains enough power to kill a god. And we were like, oh gosh, that is quite something. So that's locked in our basement now, the god killer. That's the second dangerous box we have. And
Hey, wait, the second dangerous box? What's the... Oh, Manakai's...
Yeah, Laurel's nuke is the
Oh, yeah.
and that's basically it.
Yeah.
Thank you for the recap, Jonas. You've all had 3 days of downtime, which you've done various things. I think the most appropriate place to start is... 1 second.
I'm scrolling there now. Arrived. Oh, wait, what?
Where the hell's Bollard?
Where's the library thing? Oh, there. Is that where...
I'm trying to find where the hell Bollard is. Is he even on this map?
I think I'd be crashed there.
Oh, there's Bollard. There's money covering up Bollard's face. That explains it. But yes, this is probably somewhat close to the orientation.
Are we?
You're all so you know it is early. It's early morning on the what would it be the 3rd of the month year?
It's
so Riffland has been Riffland apparently fell asleep in the library. Bollard is currently making bacon. It's the early morning. What do you do? You've had your days of downtime. You've rested.
Well,
Risen out up on the surface.
Riff's just woken up after a brief sleep, thanks to the Ring of Substance. Slowly makes her way to the breakfast table after smelling Bollard's famous cooking, and waits for the buffet to arrive. That's pretty much it.
Laurel silently walks out.
Quietly stalking, tiger in the night.
And Riff will greet the other two. Oh, actually, oh no, I'm gonna wait for that. Yeah, I'm gonna wait.
Bollard is making delicious amounts of bacon.
All is thinking about stuff. Doesn't
What
really
is-
pay too much attention right now.
He's just thinking about stuffs.
Yeah, can't really read his mind.
Is it obvious that he's thinking about stuff? Because Riff would just ask, and then hope to God he doesn't talk about maths and
You could
boring
ask,
stuff.
but he's probably going to talk about math.
Yeah, they should avoid it. Yeah, generally.
Budgets or economical predictions or...
She'll give that a wide berth then. Yeah.
So Bollard finishes his bacon cooking. Jake, you there? Jake not there.
Nope, Jake's AFK's.
Okay, let's assume he's still cooking.
He's still cookings.
You know, a lot of bacon's being brought out to you. A lot today.
Look
Yeah.
to you and say, I'm sorry I haven't spoken too much to you. I have been very busy. There's been much I had to see to.
Riff nods and says, it's okay. But I would like to talk to you guys. I would have liked to talk to Bollard about this, but it appears he's cooking too much.
Before he's got his daily bacon.
Yeah.
He's grumpy in the morning.
But I believe I had another vision. This time a bit clearer, almost. And it's quite simple. I was high above the city. My goodness, there's a loud noise from the stream, all of a sudden starting for me. But yeah, Riff says, I had a dream where I was high above the city, and I could see several bright lights. One coming from about here, the secret base. 2 or 3 somewhere near the palace, or in the palace. One from where I've been told the king's house is. And then another one really far to the west. I couldn't quite see that one. It was a bit blurred. And also, strangely, there was another one in the Archmage's tower.
Apparently on the top floor, the sanctum.
The sanctum. Yeah, the top floor. The very, very top floor. So, maybe it's something that we should look into? I don't know.
But, are you sure that it marked this place specifically?
Riff nods and says, well, I believe it was underground, and and it marked this location, yeah.
That sort of helps to verify its truth, at least. Although, of course, you could have fabricated such a dream. It seems unlikely.
Riff laughs and says, I know you guys think I'm crazy, but I'm not that crazy.
That gives a slight smile. Says, no, it's simply magic. It's hard to quantify. Seems then is true that these would be, my guess would be imperial arms. Then there would be one on each of these locations at least.
Riff nods and says, yeah. The only question is, and she looks to Zoe and says, did you have any vision or dream?
No. I have not had any visions or dreams.
Riff nods and says, well, in that case, then I would believe that it's possible that it's something to do with what we found at the crater. But I can't be sure of it. The lights could be the different fragments I'm looking for. The one here being Nairu. She kind of shrugs and says, or it could just be the Imperial arms, like you said. There's no real way to know. I plan to visit the priest today, see what they think of it.
I suppose. On that note, actually, the Imperial arms, I know of one more now.
Yeah?
So she takes it a little bit there. It is called, what was it called, Dark? Let me see if I find it.
Describe, which item are you talking about?
A certain ring.
A ring!
Yes, it was called
A ring or the bracelet?
Oh.
the one that the Empress used.
So you was using a bracelet?
So I was AFK. Are we going to basically say that I was here also?
Oh, you were making bacon.
You were making
I
bacon,
was
that's what we
making
were saying.
bacon.
Yeah.
Well, I can hear. I can hear.
Yeah, you can hear the doors
yeah.
open.
Well, no, I can hear. I can hear what they were talking about, right?
Yeah, the door was open. You can
Yeah,
see.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Well, Ballard will, he will. In that case, he'll kind of peek his head out and say, Zoe may not have had a dream, but I did, and it was about the same damn thing, from what I can tell.
You had a dream?
Riff kind of stands up and says, "What? You had a dream?
I don't know.
So he
I
smiles.
don't pick my dreams.
You had a dream about these lights?"
You can pick your friends and you can pick your nose, but you can't pick your dreams.
I suppose that's true.
Riff looks kind of confused and says, "Well, in that case, I would most definitely lead that it would be an Imperial arm."
Wait, do we have an Imperial arm here?
Yeah, the box.
Yes.
Oh, the box,
So-
right, yeah, okay.
Imperial arm Caltrell. You don't
Yes.
know the title of the item, however.
Yes, it is called Caltrell, and from what I could see, it Chef looks at it. Well, when used, it banishes someone to an eternity of endless pain in a vortex hold filled with old ones, beings that no longer exist here.
Sounds like a party.
So it's quite terrifying to witness.
Riff kind of looks over to Bollard and says, "Well, I saw one in the palace ever so slightly moving. Or can you not recollect that?"
Pollard would remember
seem-
that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It was like he wasn't really paying much attention to it, but yeah. There was one,
Yeah.
there was one moving around
Two-
slowly.
I saw a few in the palace, one from the king's home and one from the archmage's tower, and one from here.
Riff nods and says, "Then it must be the Imperial arms, and the bracelet must be on the Empress, and that must be the one that's moving. But then, what does the Archmage have?"
I don't know. He might have bought the sword that the halflings had.
I was thinking.
Or he might not even know he has it.
That is unlikely, I think.
Unlikely, but possible.
Certainly possible. A page in a book, for all we know.
Riff kind of scratches her head and says, "Well, I would have been able to find it if only I could detect the magic on the items. They're so
Some of
powerful, I
I'm
can't..."
sure do. Some of them don't. They are made so that only the Empress is supposed to, or current ruler is supposed to be able to use them. So much I know.
One thing Riff thinks about is you probably can use detect magic on most of them. It just happened to be the one you have here absorbs magic, so it doesn't work.
Yeah. But the problem would be is that I need to target the item and look at it for a fair few minutes to be able to determine whether it's the same thing.
Could you make an Arcana check, by the way?
Yeah.
We are not really on the talking part with the Prince Bishop.
Well,
It's not the Prince Bishop, it's
Riff
the
does have
Archmage.
an epiphany that if she has a more powerful way of divinating magic items, it would be quicker.
I have
Something more powerful than
Identify.
detect magic to search for them, it'd be quicker to detect.
I have
Are you
Identify.
suggesting we cast Augury?
Augury is not what I'm suggesting. That does not
Augury
detect
is
magic
not
items.
even a valid option.
I have Identify.
Oh, okay, yes.
Identify would technically help.
Well, regardless,
Takes an hour,
these
though.
items, although interesting and powerful, are not really our main concern at the moment. We have the one the king was trying to use, and as long as we have that, it at least stays unused.
But then, if our visions are right, then the king has one as
Another
well,
one, perhaps, yes.
and we don't know what that one does.
No.
Would it make more sense that he has the sword?
No, I believe it was a sword that only the Imperial family could actually lift.
Oh.
I asked the halfling about it.
So that must be in the Imperial... in
The
the...
Empress clearly doesn't care for it since she sold it. Maybe, at least that's a theory, she might not even be able to lift it, which would be quite the embarrassment.
I can imagine.
So it looks a little uncomfortable. Regardless, there is the issue of the upcoming festival.
That reminds me to tell you all that I do not no longer live in my house anymore. I am gonna make it into a hospital.
So the papers are signed, yes.
So I'm either gonna sleep at the base or at my family's house.
I think it's more correct to call it a manor or small castle, really.
Minor fortress, perhaps.
But would you be able to sleep there if your mother is still in charge of the household, so to speak?
So he smiles. She's not in charge anymore.
Oh, what happened to her?
Zoe as well.
Well, y'all knew that my father was gonna go to the Empress and talk to her. And I went with him. I wasn't allowed to come in with him, but apparently he had an amulet that used to be my mom's, or mother's, and with that he can have an audience with the Empress. But he did tell me that was the last one he had, and they are confiscated when used. and he showed the evidence what his wife has done, and we got this scroll and the sapphire. It is sapphire, right?
Mm-hmm.
The sapphire knights were summoned and they took her away.
Ah, well, good. Good to know that that she got her just desserts. But that certainly makes it interesting because she was a major power play in the king's schemes, was she not?
I believe so, but the sapphire gods took her away. So, what my father told me, she is possibly gonna get executed.
Hmm.
Well, at least that sounds like a step forward. I'm glad we got to him in time.
Me too. But I'm allowed back in the manor. I'm, again, officially the head of the family. I can use my last name without shame.
I wonder then what will happen to the Silver Cross, because they were hired by your stepmother.
Indeed.
The question is what they were paid for, I suppose.
Was
Just
it-
standing by seems unlikely.
Did Zoe think it was the Silver Crows that was with her when the silver... not silver, when the silver... Oh, okay.
That was her personal retinue.
Okay.
If they have already been paid, I know it's not uncommon for nobles to set up sort of a fund where the money just transferred as the job is being completed. Perhaps such an agreement is still going. Perhaps they will still be paid even though the person paying them doesn't exist anymore.
Rahal shrugs.
From what I know of them, if they don't get paid, I think that might make them even more dangerous. Sort of looks sort of well.
Rahal shrugs. Perhaps. I certainly like their money. I have never known them to do anything for free, unless it is just plundering for their own benefit, but I don't think they would be foolish enough to actually assault the city. More likely they would move business out from here to go to more greener pastures.
Well, and you would move after them, I suppose.
Possibly, yes. He shrugs. It will have to wait and see. We still don't know exactly what they're doing.
Yes, we know that they've been paid by her. We don't know to do what or why. Or if she's the only person who paid them.
Hmm.
Regardless, it was someone we knew was conspiring against the crown, and they've been removed. Beyond the festival, however, which I do think we should take quite a care to produce, it will also help me in my efforts to become the new mayor of the Dock District. The old one was executed after the Archmage reported that he had been smuggling gunpowder.
Riff nods and says, I have a few plans of my own that I hope go well. But we'll see. It's still a while away from now.
If I could become the mayor of the docks, Zoe could succeed me here in Northside. That would make us 4 allied. And with the Archmage's actions of outing one of the conspirators, he has effectively chosen our side as well.
The power balance seems to be shifting.
Yes, the king might become desperate. We have also the orcs to deal with.
What news about the orcs?
Our scouts, sort of gestures to about the room, even though there's no one here, have reported that there is about, it seems from the tracks that there will be about 100 or more. One ogre, possibly, has been spotted wandering, not taken too seriously. It was seemed to be alone. These orcs are invisible, or nearly so at least, when moving slowly or standing still, especially in darkness. They're hiding, as it is currently, in a forest to the north of the city. We don't know what they're waiting for, but they do not seem to have been spotted by the actual garrison. Vandals, however, are being searched for who have stomped many of the city's fields that were already... I've told you before the harvest was already going badly. Well, they have apparently stomped many of the fields and destroyed the harvests for many peasants from outside the capital. We'll have to import whatever food we need. to survive the summer.
Riff nods and says, well, it's possible that they're just going to try and weaken the city as it is.
I
Lower
doubt
the
anyone
food.
would bring orcs to do this. It could have been the same done by just releasing some wild horses or something like that. The king certainly should have his means. I think it is more of a thing for them to do while they wait some more important order. Then again, we don't really know why they're here.
Indeed.
Riff nods and says, well, we have a lot to think about, and I don't really think that the 5 of us can kill 100 orcs and an ogre. Not on our own, at least.
Not. If given a few days, I have a possible solution. Sort of quick smile. They are hiding in a forest, and we do have some means to our possession at least. The price of oil is not too steep, and I could produce some kerosene as well.
Raphael question about, do you want to burn the forest?
It is certainly a possibility, is it not?
That is yes, it is a possibility, but burning down the one of the main hunting grounds for the city, isn't that gonna do it even worse? We come with the food supplies.
I agree with Raphael. Burning down the forest is not the answer.
I suppose things were
Besides,
simpler in the old days.
if they see their forest burning down in almost winter, they're going to ask questions, and they'll try and find who it is. We should probably leave as
We'll
few
find
tracks
100
to us.
corpses of orcs.
We are already we are already basically terrorists. To implicate ourselves or risk implicating ourselves more than we have to might not be the best. I do agree, however, that it is maybe preferable to somehow stop them before they reach the city, but isn't it easier than to try to alarm the actual city guard before we take such drastic measures?
I suppose we could try. How would you suggest so? Simply telling them that there's 100 orcs in the forest and they should come check it out.
Raphael nods. Call up the Lord General, say that there is a lot of orcs close to the city, well armed, and that they are destroying the crops. You can even bring it up on one of the council meetings, yes?
There won't be one for a little while. The Empress made that much clear.
Well, do you believe that the Lord General will simply ignore such a thing?
No, not unless he is part of it.
What?
We
But
still don't know who is implicated.
if he is part of it, and he is on the king's side, telling him could imply that that you are definitely involved in fighting the king.
Yes, since no one officially knows, it at least implies that we have been there to look at the forest without much reason.
Which would cause some problems for us walking about the streets, and I don't like using disguises all the time.
I think at this point we are beginning to become too high-profile people to be targeted directly. It is more our families, employees, and friends I'm worried about.
Riff kind of gives a quizzical look and just kind of shakes it off.
So it looks to Lowell. What happened to the Dock District's mayor's family?
As far as I saw, they were also thrown into the endless pool of terror and torture.
I don't want that to happen to my family either.
No, I would most certainly not.
We need to be careful.
Very. The Empress should not be disrespected, angered, or in any way insulted. To do so, and especially now, is of incredible danger. Hence the festival's importance.
Riff nods and says, perhaps instead of waiting to, instead of telling people of this orc attack, or telling people we don't know if we can trust or not, perhaps we should just warn people that we know we can trust, so that they can prepare themselves, just in
The
case
orcs
they do
will,
attack.
if they attack, hit the foreign quarter primarily.
Well, you trust the foreign quarters, Lord Mayor, don't you?
So I do, to some degree, yes. Stonehammer has. They try to root him out of the place, but I don't know if he's capable of actually dealing with this better than we are.
We could always contact our friends in the loyalists and tell them to start quietly preparing the foreign quarter for an attack. Certainly, we can quietly evacuate some houses, place some trenches and whatnot. Most of this can be done, sort of booby trapping the whole thing. If the orcs actually approach, we can simply blow it up. The orcs will be burned, some houses will get destroyed, but the city itself will be safe.
I think the worry here is that the foreign quarter where they would attack from is also the place where the Jade Guard has its quarters. The Jade Guard seemingly was the mercenary group, or ex-mercenary group, affiliated with the king, who apparently have been working with these, according to the loyalists at least. It is their territory. I don't think the loyalists has much ground there. Beyond that, these orcs can be, again, very silent and very quiet, and invisible when moving slowly, standing still, or being within darkness. This means that at night they could seemingly just seep into the city to do their dark deeds and then disappear somewhere in an alleyway, invisible to anyone who could not see such things magically. I don't think it is a brood attack we should expect. I think it is stealthy terror.
So
People begin simply turning up dead in the night. Maybe certain.
We need to basically get out into the forest and scare them off somehow.
Yes. My thought was perhaps that this ogre would be their leader. If that could be killed, then perhaps.
Then they perhaps scatter, yes.
Having them, however, is a trouble. If just one gets into the city, it could be some damage. A murderer that is invisible, quite the danger.
Yes, quite. But I don't really know how else to deal with them. Targeting the leader seems well enough.
Or not, yes. Look to Ballard.
Pollard is stuffing his face with
One
bacon.
killer
No,
target.
he was looking wistfully back to the kitchen. You know, thinking, I probably should pay attention, but bacon. Yeah.
He looks to Ballard. Laura looks to Ballard to hear his opinion.
My opinion on things.
The orcs, Drake. The orcs.
The orcs.
The orcs, man.
I mean, okay. Look, I knew it was one of those kind of things. Anyway, yeah, that's my bad. Ballard says, yes, it does seem like a stealth kind of maneuver, but it doesn't seem like something orcs would do. I mean, clearly there's a power behind it, but I guess orcs will be orcs, so we should expect at least a little less finesse from them than if a different group was hired. They need to be dealt with eventually, but I'm not sure how much of a problem they'll pose now.
As far as my research, limited as it is, however, as into these orcs, it is a natural ability at them. They're a different type of orc than the general. These ones operate from the stealth with all the ferocity, releasing it in a moment, then disappearing into the shadows the next. Hit and run tactics. Terror tactics. The only reason I imagine that these orcs have been able to survive so close to the core of the Empire is because they know how to be quiet. Whatever would bring a whole tribe of them here must be something very important.
Yes. We should at least try to figure out what that is then. Why they came.
But even if we were to talk to their leaders, if we could, then what would we offer them? We don't have the money to best the king in price, if they are a mercenary, and if they have some form of motive morally, then I doubt we're going to dissuade 100 orcs to go back after all their trouble. I don't think we could just dissuade them with some few sugared words.
Well,
Most
what
likely we
is-
need to start killing them.
what is most precious to a mercenary beside gold, though?
His life.
Exactly.
Oh, Smiles, you're suggesting that we walk up to them and say that they can leave or die. A bold claim.
I do think that 100 orcs will kill us all.
That is a safe assumption, I think, even
Well,
without the
frowns.
ability to be invisible.
Raphael frowns.
Unless they are all weak, puny orcs that have no vitality to them.
We have the loyalist on our side.
They're
Yes.
not an army, they're a spy organization. And if we're to send armies, why go? We could help, but
There's no way we can offer them anything else but their lives. We have nothing to offer. We do not have the gold the king has.
in which case, then fighting them is the only way. But then either we get an army that can take on 100 orcs and an ogre
An army that wants to.
that
So
wants
it
to.
Or
looks
less gold than it would take to pay them.
so it looks to Rifflin, or perhaps we just need a really silver tongue.
Riff grins and says, I may be good at lying and you may be good at speaking sweet words, but I don't think orcs really care for our type of pretty. I believe they like their own flavour.
Any of you speak orc?
No.
No.
Riff frowns and says, why would I speak that?
Just slightly.
Are we gonna intimidate them? One of them must speak common, just like the... I forgot what they're called.
Like kobolds?
Kobolds.
Kobolds.
Riff shakes her head and says, I doubt it. Why would they need to learn it if they're so drawn into themselves that they sneak around
Because
lands?
they work with the Silver Crows, possibly. The king.
Perhaps the king or, one of his lackeys can speak orc. They wouldn't need to learn common if someone can come to them speaking their language.
That's
Possibly.
more possible.
It's
Most
plausible.
likely
Likely, in
someone
fact,
from the
there's a
Jade
translator
Guard,
for
then.
everything.
I've
Like someone from the Jade Guard.
I've heard orcs aren't the smartest of creatures, and I doubt that they can learn too many languages. And well, I know common isn't that easy just to learn. Or I don't know. I've never tried to learn another language.
Are we all gonna look at Raphael now?
Well, looks around. His languages aren't that hard, as long as you get the system behind them.
Riff kind of shrugs her shoulders and says, well, I think it's somebody speaking orc to the orcs.
That certainly does make sense.
In which case we either need to find somebody who speaks orc, or somebody needs to learn orc.
Forest.
Send someone to the school. To school.
Riff looks over to the guys sitting at the table across and says, by any chance do either any of you speak orc?
They all shake their head almost simultaneously.
Riff kind of grins and says, I didn't really expect a yes.
It's not a much used language in the center of the Empire.
Or anywhere where there are people that aren't orcs living.
Riff kind of chuckles and says, well, we're either better off looking for a scholar in orcish ways that speaks orc for some beknownst reason, and asking them to talk to the chieftain of an orc army outside of the city, or, I don't know, we try talk common to them and hope they don't just suddenly charge?
I think the easiest would be to buy a potion.
Riff kind of is kind of taken aback and said, a potion?
Yes, they exist. I had one some time ago, but decided I didn't need it.
Riff kind of frowns and says, what does it do? Does it make you speak orc?
It translates whatever you say to whatever language you wish. You understand any language as well?
That sounds like magic.
Yes, it is, yes.
Riff kind of nods and says, we could try that, I guess.
They are rather expensive.
Or perhaps we could get a scroll of a similar spell. I'm sure the priests at Nethys know of such a scroll, and I'm sure there is a vendor in this vast city that would sell one.
I suppose. It shouldn't be too hard to acquire, certainly.
So we just need... we could do that, I suppose. It seems a bit worrying to talk to an orc.
Oh god. Terrible things are happening. Ah!
Don't break anything!
What's happening?
Java
Jonas?
out of memory error, Java heap space, everything is crashing.
You need more RAMs!
See, guys, now they just gave you like a hit techno song. Take that, cut it together, and
Really?
I would listen to that.